Hello everyone, welcome to the Ask Dr. Lin show, where your questions get more thoroughly answered. Many of you come to Bakerpedia.com daily through Google's answer boxes. Why? Because Google thinks that we have the most reliable answers for your commercial baking questions. That's why. Plus, Google really likes us. So, hey there, thank you for joining me today. I am Dr. Lin from Bakerpedia, the world's largest resource for technical baking information. And as of last week, we've hit over 2 million page views in the last 12 months. That's like an 80% growth for us, which goes to show me that our free information is now highly sought by every technical baking geek out there. Have you a burning baking question? Bakerpedia it. Still have more questions? Go to our forum or place any comments on the topics that you are researching on Bakerpedia, and I'll do my best to answer them on the show. So what's the difference between wheat protein isolates and vital wheat gluten? In a nutshell, one is a subset of the other. During the wet processing of wheat flour, two products emerge: starch and vital wheat gluten. The gluten is then separated into its different properties and processed further to produce wheat protein isolates, providing a range of functional benefits. So, isolates are components of vital wheat gluten with different functionalities. What are those functionalities? Well, since I'm not an expert on this subject, I'm going to point you to MGP, and their experts there would be able to help you better understand what your needs would be from their Arise line. So, to answer the question, you can definitely use plant proteins from other sources like pea, hemp, or soy, sometimes up to 25% of the total formulation. However, this only dilutes the gluten network and would give you a dense bread structure. In order to counter this action, you would need wheat protein isolates, not vital wheat gluten. Wheat protein isolates will either help you out with extensibility or elasticity or both in the dough. Rheology is a science that can be better controlled by wheat protein isolates than vital wheat gluten. So I would recommend using wheat protein isolates any day to get better machinability. Pulse-based proteins increases viscosity slightly due to its ability to absorb some water. If you're going to increase the protein content with pulse-based flour, then you not only would have to adjust the water absorption, but you may have to add gluten as well. You see, the protein from these pulse have a dilution effect on the gluten network. I understand your hesitation in adding more gluten, mainly because it is expensive and it makes the dough bucky. But here's a thought. How about using wheat protein isolates that doesn't dilute the gluten network and doesn't contribute to the buckiness of the dough? Reach out to our friends at MGP, and they have a special form of wheat protein isolates that improves the flow of your dough in a pulse-based protein system. Also, reach out to our friends at Ingredion for high-protein pulse flours to develop with. The yummy buttery croissant is a laminated yeast leaven product that contains layers that are flaky and crispy in texture. Get the straight dough formula from this croissant page to make a benchtop version before commercialization. As you can see here, there is about 10% butter in the dough and another 25% in the roll-in step. So when you replace butter, this is the most important piece of the equation. Now, back in the day when great pastry margarine was produced, faux or partially hydrogenated oils were allowed. Faux contribute to the rigidity and plasticity of the pastry margarine. Since 2015, they have been banned. Many pastry margarine now use other functional ingredients like emulsifiers and a blend of different vegetable oils to provide a similar function. So yes, you can absolutely substitute butter with pastry margarine, granted you take this tip. Always make sure that the roll-in pastry margarine and the final dough temperature are similar and not more than 3 degrees difference. Why? Because pastry margarine is very sensitive. Its crystalline structure is very heat sensitive. If the dough is warmer than the margarine, the fat crystals will dissolve and you may not get a continuous film. This would result in the inability to form continuous layers for gas expansion and would give you a dense and gummy texture. So do be cautious in this step. Now that you've made the fat part vegan, how about the aroma? The aromatic compounds in butter are mainly aldehydes and diacetyl. Other lactic acid bacteria also produce similar components like delta-decalactone, diacetyl, and butanoic acid. While lactic acid bacteria is in sourdough, making your own sourdough will not give you these notes unless you have a way to separate these components. Why not reach out to your dry sourdough powder provider to ask them if they have a natural butter flavor for this particular use? That's an idea. Lastly, don't forget the egg wash, or should I say the eggless egg wash. Why do eggs give such a great shine? It's so hard to replace, right? Well, because the proteins found in eggs are large macromolecules. Let's take a step back. On every baked surface, pores exist. Macroscopically, they look like the craters of the moon, but more like bottomless craters. What do these pores do? They are light receptacles. When you shine light on them, they absorb it. However, when you apply a large macromolecule like egg onto these pores, it fills it up, solidifies in the oven, and reflects the light after it is baked, creating a continuous surface that reflects light. This is perceived as a shine, and this is why replacing egg wash is such a difficult task. You have to find a vegan solution that reacts just like the egg macromolecule, which is really large. So what macromolecule reacts this way naturally? Well, sad to say, there are none. But there are individual molecules that when joined together will act in a similar fashion. During your search, focus on non-polar macromolecules because polar molecules like water and most starches get absorbed into the pores. Now, non-polar molecules like plant-based proteins, namely pea, potato, gluten, are large enough and would not be absorbed into the pores, but it cannot be applied easily because they cannot dissolve in water, the water that is needed for applying the solution. So you have to pair these large protein molecules with an emulsifier at the proper pH. Then they will be soluble in water for you to apply on the surface of the baked goods. For other possible ingredients to use, go to this page on egg wash substitutes. Come here to learn what other ingredients you could use in your eggless egg wash toolkit. Alright, I don't expect all of you to be food scientists. So if you don't have the time to do this research on your own, there are companies out there that make these ready-to-use eggless egg wash. Just reach out to us and we will connect you. Most definitely. Yes! In gluten-free loaf bread, eggs are natural leaveners that provide the volume. In addition, eggs can also add moisture, flavor, and protein to gluten-free bread for structure. If your gluten-free bread is for the vegan market, try a combination of maple or citrus fiber and hydrocolloids and even aquafaba. If it has dairy in it already, try using a whey protein concentrate because they are much cheaper alternatives than most of other egg replacement solutions. For example, Nutrilett BK8501, a whey protein concentrate produced by Arla Foods Ingredients, is a great alternative. Don't forget to replace the eggy, custardy taste of egg with natural flavors that I previously discussed. You can use wheat protein isolates in anything that you bake. Particularly, identify that rheological property that you want. If you want the dough to be more extensible or more elastic, then use that particular wheat protein isolate that contributes to that characteristic. This is the advantage of using wheat protein isolates over just plain vial wheat gluten. And MGP has a superb technical team to help you solve this problem. In answering your question, can you use wheat protein isolates in cookies and quick breads? The answer is yes. Yes, it's possible. There are many alternatives available out there to address this concern. Firstly, go to the page to understand the functionality of egg and how to replace it. Remember, when you switch out eggs, the foaming, emulsification, stabilization, and texture of the batter has to be replaced by a few ingredients found on this page. Try a combination of wheat protein isolates, maple fiber, alpha-cyclodextrins, and good luck in your next egg replacement project. Usually, an emulsifier should not separate from the oil. Firstly, I do question if the separation is really the emulsifier that you see, or if it is some kind of impurity from the oil. Say, if it is the emulsifier, then I would assume that you may be using the wrong type of emulsifier for this application. Please reach out to our sponsor, Serenda, so that they can get you the right kind of lecithin for this purpose. The reason why I am not recommending any lecithin is because Serenda has a range for different applications. Last but not least, Richard mentioned in his live stream that you should be agitating your oils. Are you agitating your oils? This is a common practice in large commercial bakeries. Agitating oil before pan lubrication may save you quite a bit of money. Good luck! Alright bakers, that's all for this episode. Before I end, I have a favor to ask you. Please give me a like below if I've helped you understand how to bake high protein and vegan. Also, please subscribe to this channel so that you can get a notification every time I upload a new video. Well, that's all I have for today. Till the next time, bakers, have a baking quality question? Bakerpedia it! Or we'll catch you on Google. Bye!